Broadcasting. Wonderful. So the prompt for this week, for the reading, studying leadership, discuss with their perspectives and approach made most sense to you.
Yeah. For me, when I was going over this and kind of going over the chapters, the approach that I liked the most was the relational approach to leadership.
Okay.
Reason being is because of the section leader-member exchange theory under that approach, and how it talked about how the more leader-member exchange there was between the leader and the follower,
Yep.
the more productive they were, the more satisfied the people are with the jobs, less likely to quit. It went through a bunch of bullet points. People are more motivated, more influential in their organizations, all that kind of stuff. When there was more exchange between the leader and the follower, it was better overall. And that's one thing I really liked about that approach.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. For me, it's more like the transformational part of this. When you can give an individual the satisfaction that their basic needs are being met.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one less thing they actually have to worry about.
Right.
And when someone has less things to worry about, the chances of actually increasing their production are going to go up automatically.
Sure.
Going with what you're saying, just by having them, if they need that interaction with their leader, allow them to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something they need. They need that belonging to that group.
Sure.
And by doing that, you're gonna increase your overall production.
Mm-hmm.
The risk in that is you can go too far over and allow the follower to be not as productive and kind of taking advantage of some of these situations.
Yeah.
And so you kind of run a risk of being too open and not being open enough. So you got to kind of have to play the middle there.
Right. Yeah. It comes to the point, like, when do I talk to this person? When do I open up? How far do I go in the relationship?
Yeah.
Because I've seen it multiple times. Boss becomes, or leader, or whatever it is, becomes friends with the employees, and then they become counterproductive instead of being productive. And actually, today at work we were actually talking about a branch, one of our branches in Las Vegas. They just got a new manager actually, but the reason why that branch was just tanking, not doing very well. The reason why is because they were all friends, everyone there. I mean, age doesn't matter, but they were all around 20 years old, 23 to, that was the oldest member there. They were all friends in Vegas, and they lost over $1 million within the last 6 months.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, and you see that. That's kind of just, you see the manager, the leader was supposed to be, when it comes to relational approach, he became, it was too much interaction, too much of that leader-member exchange, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen both spectrums of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen where a leader literally is segregated from their group.
Yeah.
And when that happens, when everything's good, they're fine.
Yeah.
But when things are chaotic, all of a sudden you have this person you never deal with barking instructions to you, which you may or may not take accordingly.
Right.
And on the other side of it is, if you're too friendly with them, you end up with the favoritism aspect of it.
Yeah.
And the counterproduction. And it's like you want to be friendly with them, but you don't want to be friends with them. And some people have struggles with that.
Yeah.
My current supervisor right now, she's a very friendly person. That's her natural human response to human interactions, being friendly and open. My manager is more of, I want my production over the friendship.
Right.
So she's struggling with the, how do I manage my team and satisfy my boss? And she kind of doesn't get how there is that line in there that you can do both.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I've been working with her, even though she's my supervisor, to
Yeah.
kind of start figuring out where those boundaries are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's very true. I was just reading the prompt again, and I mean my personal opinion is that there's got to be a balance between the two. Just like you said, you've got one on one spectrum, end of the spectrum, then the one on the other, and it's kind of both of them are doing good things, but if they would just join and make one person of both of those aspects, they'd be right on target of what a leader should be, in my
True.
opinion. You know, and so
Yeah, I mean the problem is most people throughout all of our experiences
mhm.
are going to go one way or the other.
Right. Yep.
We're going to have to learn the other aspect of it just to be successful.
Yeah.
So it's like we naturally are either going to be an open, friendly person,
Mhm.
and that's how we build those relationships, or we're going to be a production-oriented person, and that's how we engage our work life.
Mhm.
But to be successful as a leader, you kind of have to learn the opposite side of it.
Yeah.
And you have to be open to new ideas and being creative and seeing things down the road that you necessarily wouldn't see before.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a part on here in the book, I think it was in chapter 4, that they're talking about being creative and
Oh
having
yeah.
roadblocks. And there's one of the first thing that comes up is perceptual blocks. And that is something I go through because
Mhm.
I'm one of the people that my company goes to when they can't figure out how to do something.
Mhm.
They'll give it to me, and I can most of the time can work around things and figure out ideas and get into a new way of doing something.
Yeah.
But every so often, I'll get in my own way
Yeah.
into this perceptual block because I'm too close to it,
Right.
and I've learned to step away
Mhm.
and just say, okay, I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go think about something else. I'll come back to this. And it's only because that's the only way I can get around those blocks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you were talking, I opened up to that page where you were at, and before I was just thinking about emotion, getting into specific things and what we were talking about, and the next one is actually emotional blocks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how that can cause problems too. And so it's really true. They've got to watch out for those things that can cause you to be
Well,
counterproductive and whatnot.
here's the thing. A lot of the perceptual blocks can create the emotional blocks
Yeah. Yeah.
because
That's
you're
true.
going to get frustrated with those perceptual blocks. And someone's coming up to you when you have one of those, you may not be the friendliest person at that point in time.
Yeah.
And that interaction may have different outcomes depending on who you're talking with.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I know we're almost done here, but what did you think about the trait approach? The first one in chapter 3.
Uh, let's see here.
It basically was I skimmed over it, but it was a study that was done like I don't even know. It said I think
1900s?
70. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And how leaders are going to be the tall, dark, and handsome type things, but they found that that wasn't the case. But I was thinking it'd be interesting, really, to look at it now in today's day and age, because I've seen people get promoted that are just honestly just dumb as dirt, but because they fit that role,
Yeah.
you know, they're tall, they've got the personality to be a leader, they get promoted.
Well, I mean, there's a part in chapter 4 that goes and talks about charisma.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and charisma has a lot to do with how a manager or someone of a high ranking level sees somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the right charisma and have the right confidence about something, you're going to go about looking at this person in a different way. Now, if this person happens to have a pleasant look about them, so they
Mm-hmm.
have the look of what you typically consider a manager, a supervisor, even just a worker.
Yeah.
You're gonna, you add in that charisma aspect, which goes back into the traits, then they're going to see them in a more positive light, even if they have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's like I work for a scientific company, and a lot of the higher ranking of parts of management are veterinarians and doctors and all these other people. They are extremely smart,
Yep.
but they don't not make the best business decisions.
Right.
Um, and it's like I get you, and then when it comes to animals and all that, I completely trust you.
Mm-hmm.
But some aspects we gotta kind of take a hit when we gotta take a hit, and we gotta kind of say no when we have to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them just don't understand that, and it's because of that.
Yeah.
And my company sees them within that same aspect that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of their degrees and the years of work experience. They think they're going to be good in management roles within our company.
Sure. Yeah. You know, it's a little bit of everything. It says that they've got to have, the study found that they have cognitive abilities, personality is important, their motivation levels, their social appraisal, you know, so how good are they in social circumstances? Do they have good personalities? And then problem solving skills.
Yep.
And you know, their tactic knowledge, which I think comes from experience, school, and that kind of thing. So that's what they found, is that all the leaders weren't just necessarily tall or smart or whatever. It was all these things put together, and I think that that's what really can bring in a good leader under the trait theory. But then again, I mean, it's not just all about the physical traits. It's more,
No.
you know, the
But it also goes back to the company that you're working with.
yeah.
If you're in an industry where the image of a person is something, they're going to
Yeah,
look at the image of a person.
sure.
If it's like my
Sales,
company where the brain is something, they're going to look at that.
yeah, that's very true. Cool. That's about time, isn't it?
That's about time, man. I think we actually went over.
Awesome. Yeah. So I to conclude, I think the relational approach is what I think was most, for me anyway, the best approach for me.
Yeah, but that's what it is. It's finding what you have the best relation with, because you're going to be able to understand it at a level that some people are not able to.
Yep.
I mean, through my experience, the transformational works, but I've also learned that it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah. No. I think you could take some of those approaches and mold them together and make a different approach for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have to. I mean, the way that we interact is going to be different than the way that you and somebody at work is going to interact. And
Yep.
you have to kind of adapt those abilities.
Yep. Awesome. Well, that concludes another Google Hangout.
It does.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for setting it up again. Some stuff came up last night, so
Don't worry about it, man.
I'll get next week. I'll just send you the invite, set
Okay,
it up tonight or something. Get it
cool.
going. All right, man. Thanks.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.